Hello, everyone. We are having a very special conversation today about a very special season this year, which is Virgo season. I know so many of you have perhaps been looking forward to this, perhaps dreading this. I don't know. We are about to enter eclipse season, and Nicola is here in the house, our fantastic, amazing radiance coach and human design and astrology reader to discuss all the Virgo things with me. Let's get into it. Welcome, Nicola. How are you feeling about Virgo season coming up? There's a lot we got to talk about today.
I feel excited. I mean, we were chatting just before we hit record, and there's some very special things happening this Virgo season that make it stand apart from the norm. It's
Yes.
going to be a special one. There's a lot of potential that we're playing with here, and yeah, I think it's going to be a beautiful energy for us.
Yes, me too. Me too. I think there's going to be a lot of like thoughtfulness happening this Virgo season, a lot of like, introspection, compassion, caring of oneself. And also the thing that I always look forward to in Virgo season, which is this kind of feeling of back to school. And I always felt that even before I had a kid, just that autumn, oh, we get to September, it's back to school. And for those of us, yeah, who went to school and were maybe in higher education as well, like September kind of represents that, doesn't it? It's like we're all like I just think about, I moved to London in September. I came to London for the first time when I was studying abroad in September, and it's always just been this kind of, oh, it's the start of a new season. So let's give the people the breakdown. So Virgo season starts August 22nd and goes until September 22nd. It finishes as the sun's going to move into Libra, which marks the autumn equinox on September 22nd. So I have three words. We like to give themes for this season in our constellation community membership. And so our three words for this season are practical, organized, and then Nicola and I were discussing this. We added devotion here as well, which I really love. So we can talk about all three of these: practical, organized, and devotion. Do you want to share a little bit about kind of how do we see that coming through in Virgos as a mutable earth sign? What does that mean to you, Nicola?
So I think, like Virgo doesn't chase the spotlight. It
Hmm.
places the stone until it shines on its own. And I think this is where we're really moving on from like that Leo energy to the Virgo
Yes.
archetype. It's so much about, the things that we do, the service, the devotion that creates the result, not so much about doing things for applause.
Yes.
But often it's like what we do behind the scenes, the things that nobody sees, that's really, creating like the results.
Mm.
It's not performative.
Yes.
It's deep, deep devotion.
Ooh, I love that so much. And I just had a thought. Like, I think just thinking about the differences, like you highlighted between Leo and Virgo. Leo loves the applause and being appreciated for who they are. And I would say Virgo also likes recognition and appreciation, but for what they do. It's
Mhm.
very much like, well, I've done the hard work behind the scenes. I've made everything refined and perfect and beautiful and, functional, and it's the best of the best. Like there's something about quality, I think quality control that comes through with Virgo. But I've also known a lot of Virgos in my life that like if they are not appreciated and they're overlooked, they're not happy.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
absolutely. Like it's so interesting when we think of like the shift because, Leo is very yang, it's very outward, and then we're moving into like a much more inward focus with Virgo. And,
Mhm.
I always like to look at the visual representations in the tarot to kind of give us, I know this is a podcast, but we've got to bring in the
Oh,
visuals.
yes, definitely.
And I think like the major tarot card that really embodies that Virgo archetype is the Hermit.
Yes.
So it is all about like that inward journey. Often like in traditional tarot decks, like they'll be holding a lantern, which is
Mhm.
like very much about like that inner light that we're finding, and that inner wisdom. And I think it's interesting because I kind of like to think of like what other tarot cards kind of have different qualities of the signs. And the other one I kind of pulled was the Eight of Pentacles.
Oh, yes, I totally agree. And if you're watching on YouTube or Substack, you can see the cards. If you're not, maybe you could describe them a little bit to for our listeners.
So, well, the Eight of Pentacles that I'm looking at right now, this beautiful modern witch deck, um, it's someone who's basically sitting at their desk, busy working away.
Yes.
And I think the reason this is like Virgo energies, well, first of all, Virgo is an earth sign. So it is practical. It is about like the doing. And then we were kind of like talking about how it's all also about like you're mastering something, you're dedicating yourself, you're devoting yourself
Hmm.
to. I think it's like craftsmanship. It's something you've really got to master. You have to put in the time, the devotion to get those kind of skill levels.
Yes.
So it is, yeah, very, very practical, which is, yeah, another kind of, and it's about a process. It's
Hmm.
about this process that you're creating. And
Hmm.
then the other thing about Virgo is, yes, it is an earth sign, but it is ruled by Mercury, which is all about the mind. So it's like this really, I think, fascinating blend of earth and air. So it's like, body wisdom and mental acuity and insight, and it's practical, but it's also magical because Mercury is like this alchemical magician, right?
Yes.
So it's, I mean, practical magic.
I couldn't have put it better myself. I fully agree. It is practical magic. And, going into a little bit of the mythology of, Virgo, why is it called Virgo, right? And I love to talk about this because, Virgo comes from the word virgin, but virgin doesn't mean what a lot of people think it means in a mythological and astrological and historical context. It means a woman who is not owned, right? And so Virgo, the sign, is often represented by the figure of a woman. And it's very connected to the Vestal Virgins, who are not mythological. They were real historical priestesses, right? And so I know that the priestess archetype, the wise woman archetype, the teacher, the wisdom keeper, wisdom holder, the holder of space, the teacher. All of these are very connected to the energy of Virgo. So, like you said, it's like, how do we kind of connect to the magic, but keep it practical? How are we using it? How are we being of service? And the Vestal Virgins were exactly that. They would live in the temples and they would keep the everlasting flame going. And there was a physical flame in every temple, but it was also, representative of something very spiritual and sacred, which is the passing on of, the flame of wisdom and knowledge and learning as well. And when the Romans came in and started conquering people, right? And they were very clever. They would, consume the culture and use bits of it instead of trying to destroy it completely, usually, so that they could kind of subdue people into obedience. And so with the Vestal Virgins, when they came in, they didn't kill all the priestesses immediately. They allowed them to remain. They allowed them to remain unmarried, owned by themselves, and continuing to serve the people in their temples for a while. And they had a status that was often above that of Roman wives because they could own their own property and they didn't have to be owned by a man. So these are historical stories that like we have to keep telling, we have to keep talking about. But I always think of that when I think of Virgo. I always think of keeping that flame. This is where the Olympic flame comes in that never goes out, right? That's from the Vestal Virgins. So keeping that flame alive, the idea of sharing the wisdom so that we can help people and be of service. That's all very Virgo. It's a very giving sign, wouldn't you say?
100%. Like it is so, I think, service orientated. And this is where we kind of have to maybe talk about like high and low expressions of the sign,
Yes.
because high expression is, it's supremely organized, it's it's service, it's duty, it's like looking at the details and like really like looking at those micro elements that make things so good and so excellent. But in its low expression, it can also go into self-sacrifice
Hmm.
and overdoing it and overgiving and thinking like our worth is only in service, and that we need to be needed, and we
Hmm.
need to be fixing things, and we need to be micromanaging things, and things need to be perfect. And not only is that like super destructive on our spirit, but it can make us very harsh and critical and judgmental. And if you're thinking about that Mercury mind energy, like, we can then bump into these very hard edges of Virgo, that if we're not careful can cut.
100%. That is so beautifully put. When I see a chart for someone who has a lot of Virgo energy, like maybe they have a rising sign or a midheaven or a Mars or a Venus, Mercury, Moon, I immediately know that they're going to be someone who is potentially very hard on themselves, right? They can be hard on others, perhaps too, if you're really in the low expression, but it's a projection of how they're feeling about themselves, right? And so, like, there's so much healing that can happen in working with the low expression of Virgo, which the antidote is compassion, right? If you're trying to be super perfectionistic about everything, if you're being really harsh and cruel, as you said, to yourself about what you're creating, oh, it's never good enough, I'm not good enough, all of these things, then you're never going to be able to move forward, to be able to enjoy the process of what you're doing, right? If it has to be quote unquote perfect. So yeah, that's very important to acknowledge the low expression. And can I add, I think the low expression is especially important this year. This is especially something that we're all collectively actually working with the low expression of Virgo because we have the South Node in Virgo.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Hmm.
So this South Node placement is like really showing us as a collective, like where do we need to, evolve? Like what are these paradigms we've become stuck in that we need to move forward from? Because it's like our growth path, it's
Hmm.
pointing from, Virgo, not being bad, but from
Hmm.
like maybe some not such helpful, paradigms to like to North Node and Pisces,
Yes.
which is like where, we can like step into like the next phase,
Hmm.
or the next level. And I think it's like, how do you go from this Earth, Air, Virgo quality into compassion? Because I agree with you. I think compassion is like really like the key medicine to break through from all these things, like,
Hmm.
because it's not about dropping our standards when we're
No.
saying like, perfection is destructive. It's like we can still reach for excellence, but we can also realize that like perfection is actually quite a low standard, because it's not attainable. It's not acknowledging the humanness of who we are, like the human experience.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, how do we access this compassion when it comes to this Virgo archetype? And I think if we look at the mode of the sign, which is mutable, I feel like with mutable signs, there is this real invitation into presence. So, like the here and now. And I think when it comes to the cardinal signs, it's very future orientated. When we come to the fixed signs, it's very much like looking to the past.
Hmm.
I think
Agreed.
the mutable energy, it's like, okay, here and now. And if we truly tune into the here and now, which is simply as simple as coming back to our breath, because again, I think Mercury is very related to our nervous system and the lungs and these kind of things. It's like simply tuning into our breath is where we meet ourselves, and where we can like soften and see where these hard edges are that we potentially coming up against and creating like a cage for ourselves. And we can just soften, get into the heart, get into that body wisdom a bit more. And yeah, compassion, 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 and compassion not in a selfish way, but in service to others, because the
Mhm.
more we open our hearts to ourselves, the more we can open our hearts to everybody else.
100%, 100%. That's so true. And when you recognize that, the low expressions of Virgo, the perfectionism, the harshness, the judgment is not actually helping, right? It's not helping you, it's not helping others. When you look at kind of the higher expression of being of service, of devotion, of support, that's not going to get you there faster. That's actually not going to get you there at all, right? Whereas compassion, openness, flexibility, which are high expressions, I would say, of Virgo as well, being flexible, figuring things out, being incredible problem solvers. We need to talk about that. Like that is going to help you to help more people more efficiently as well.
Hi, I'm Nicola Stegmann. I'm a radiance coach and the resident astrology and human design reader for the Cosmic Queen community. Virgo season invites us to come back to the wisdom of our body, to refine, replenish, and reconnect with what truly nourishes us. It's the perfect time to realign with your natural rhythms and remember that radiance doesn't come from doing more or doing less. It comes from returning to yourself. If you're craving soulful structure, deeper self-care, and clarity on how to honor your energy as well as tune into the seasonal cosmic energies, my Radiance Rituals reading is made for you. It's a 1-hour cosmic session designed to help you glow from the inside out, with a personalized self-care ritual guide aligned to your chart. You'll find the link to book in the show notes.
I want to talk about that for a second. Problem solving. This is something that I love about my Virgos so much. Like they are incredible problem solvers, but the way that they do it is in a mutable way, it's in a flexible way. And I would say people with strong Virgo are very good in a crisis because they can see all these options. I talk about this when I talk about the midheaven archetype of the curator. That's the Virgo midheaven. They see all these options and then they pick the best one. It's like they can roll with the punches and they can shift and move, and it's just there's a certain genius to it, wouldn't you say? I think any sign ruled by Mercury, which would be Gemini and Virgo, have this kind of genius way of seeing something that other people miss.
Yes. I mean, it's like if you can let everything dissolve, and that's taking me to that whole Pisces energy, like to dissolve everything, and then to take that Virgo energy and to reweave it into something better. Because I think in the low expression, we can be very high functioning with these qualities, these low
Mhm.
expression qualities, like they can really serve us, and I say that in air quotes,
Yeah.
um, until the point where like we can't
Until they don't. Yeah,
and
until they don't.
I think that's what these eclipses show us. They like really show us where things just aren't working. It's like this breakdown,
Yes.
breakthrough. And then, you lean into that Virgo gift of being able to like reweave the web and be flexible and take all those little pieces again in your beautiful ability to put things together and make something better, stronger that works.
Mhm.
And it's like bones when they break, like
Mhm.
where they knit together again, like it's stronger than before, like it's more resilient. So there's a real magic in that.
Absolutely. Oh, I love how you put that. Let's talk about the eclipses because this is something, well, let's talk about the new moons and the eclipses, shall we?
Which new moon?
Yeah, which new moon? Ah! All right. Do you want to tell the people, give the people the magic of this Virgo season? It's something very
Okay.
rare.
So not only have we got eclipse season this Virgo season, but there's not one but two new moons in Virgo. So this Virgo energy is being so activated. And like as we said, it's collective. We've got the South Node in Virgo right now, and I feel like it's really being highlighted this
Mhm.
Virgo season, and we're getting lots of opportunities to work with it. We're having like an eclipse new moon, and we're also having just a second new moon
Yeah,
after
a normal new moon.
a normal new moon, which
Yeah,
is not normal
normal,
at
quote
all.
unquote. Still very
Uh,
magical.
what is it? What do we have a name for it? If there's like two new
No, so I was thinking about this. I have never been taught like a special term for having a second new moon. I know that when you have, multiple full moons, then, in the same sign, then that's a blue moon, right? But I don't know what another new moon would be.
a cool moon. I don't know.
I know, it's just super potent, super magical. I'm just so excited about it. And for those of you who want dates, you're like, give me the dates. Okay, circle these. So, new moon in Virgo at 0 degrees is on the 23rd of August. So that is not an eclipse, right? That is just a classic new moon. So you might say this is, if you're really into manifestation and moon rituals, this would be kind of the last more stabilized new moon manifestation moment before we move into eclipse season, where it's less stabilized. It's more about just leaning back and receiving and the realizations that are coming through. And then the second new moon is right at the end of the month. So we have the 21st of September, which is right, before the sun moves into Libra the next day. That is a new moon in Virgo, the second one, and that is going to be a partial solar eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo. So we're topping and tailing it. 0 degrees Virgo and then 29 degrees Virgo.
And I mean, I think that is very significant. Like
Yeah.
the very first degree and the very last degree, like, from all my studies, it's like these start and end degrees, they hold the potent
Oh yeah.
energy of the sign.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah, I agree. They're not like I don't believe in like cusps, like, oh, if you're 0 degrees, you might be one or the other. No, 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 no. It's more extreme. It's more intense in terms of that sign. So 0 degrees Virgo is very Virgo. 29 degrees Virgo is very Virgo. And I'm just really excited to experience this with y'all. So yeah, look forward to that for sure. What would be, do you have any, you're the queen of rituals. For those of you who don't know, in our membership constellation community, Nicola has created a beautiful training that was very popular and continues to be, which is all about creating your own radiance ritual, based on your astrology. So if you're in the membership, we always invite you to join. You can join anytime. That is a great one to pull out of the vault. But what would be a ritual that you might encourage people to do this Virgo season, maybe even on the new moon? What is kind of like a Virgo-y type of?
well, I think first of all, the idea of ritual is so Virgo,
It's so Virgo.
which
Yeah.
we have to kind of mention. I mean,
Yeah.
the Virgo really resonates with the sixth house,
Hmm.
which is all our habits, our daily routines, our rituals.
Hmm.
I think, yeah, looking at those things, the things that we do on the daily, I think on the new moon, there's really an invitation to kind of reset and re-look at like what are those little micro moves that I'm doing every day that compound into the magic. So it's those things that like we can easily overlook, but that over time create real momentum, real shifts. So yeah, just look at your routines.
Yeah.
Look at what you're doing every day. If you're the kind of person that likes a bit of a morning routine, like time to maybe just reinvent that and make sure that it's not boring for you, like it's not mundane, because just because it's every day doesn't mean mundane doesn't mean have to be mundane.
Yes. Agreed.
I think, yeah, like look at where you've got Virgo in your chart and maybe look at like this could be a place in your life where maybe you want to get organized, you want to plan, you want to set up a little ritual or routine for yourself and like refresh that. And yeah, it's just a good time also to be planning, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. One of the things that's really transformed my day, how I spend my day, is having just 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be long, but a morning ritual of getting into the zone before I sit down to do my work. So I drop my son and I have our own routine in the morning, and he's Virgo rising, so he loves the routine. I know kids thrive in structure anyway, but like he really needs it and loves it. And so we have our own routine, but then mommy has my routine as well. So when I come home, I'm like, okay, I'll make my matcha with my, vitamins, collagen in it, whatever. And then I'll pull a card and I'll light some incense. I'll sit on the floor, have some time to myself, do my meditation, get in the zone. And then I start my day. And so just having a little moment, right, to yourself
Yeah.
to set yourself up. I like that because to me, that is my style. That's like my Pisces rising style of planning is like
Yeah.
the spiritual getting in the zone. But for someone else, it could be, writing out what they're going to do for the day, their top 3 priorities, or, having an affirmation, using that kind of Mercury energy of saying something for yourself to set yourself up well for the day. But I like how you brought in the planning piece, which is very Virgo.
I mean, I really like that. I like the idea of like a very simple routine, like being like, can even just be lemon water or
Yeah.
celery juice, something super cleansing.
Yes.
Because I think there is this energy of clearing out and cleansing with Virgo as well
Yeah.
when it comes to like organizing. So you
Clean.
start your day with cleansing the body, and that I think there's nothing better than, to be honest, like lemon water with a bit
Yeah.
of like remineralizing.
Mhm.
And then like, yes, bring in the magic, like you were saying, like pull a card. That's such a beautiful way to do it. Light a bit of incense, put some music on, like bring the magic into the
Some
mundane.
sacredness.
Mhm. Exactly. And then spend a bit of time, like either, like I said, just breathing, because that's again a really nice way to connect. It's like just breathing into presence,
Mhm.
um, or write a little reflection from the card you pulled, or create like create like, rather than even creating like your to-do list, like create your like magic list. Like what's like the one thing today that if I did that, it would bring a bit of magic to my day. And that could be as simple, I mean, you're already doing it in this little practice,
Mhm.
but like, what's it, a small or big thing today that's going to be like a memory, or
Yes.
just like bring that act of devotion for yourself. And I think we were talking about devotion as one of our words. And I think like this mini routine, this mini 10-minute routine that we're talking about here, like you showing up for that is devotion to yourself.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
just love this so much.
Oh, me too. Me too. So good. This is juicy stuff. So before we move on from eclipse season and
Mm.
we talk about, yeah, what Virgo might look like in your chart, we should talk about our charts as well. So the other eclipse we cannot forget. So we've got 2 eclipses in Virgo season to experience. So the eclipse season is not something to be afraid of, right? I don't want anyone to hear this and just be like, oh my God, it's going to be chaos. Chaos is not always bad, right? Chaos is part of magical tradition, but it is unpredictable. So it's a time when paradoxically you're going to have to let go of control. Virgo loves to have control, but you have to learn to let go of control and actually be more in the receiving energy, especially during eclipse season, because eclipse season can bring surprises. It can bring happy surprises. It can bring challenging surprises. But the idea is that we learn to kind of like buckle our seatbelt and trust the process and be open to the realizations. That's one thing eclipses always bring is these realizations, right? Like there might be a realization about something that's missing for you or something that isn't aligned for you or something that you want to pursue, right? And just stay open to that. So we have the first eclipse on the 7th of September, and that one I think is going to be the really, well, it depends on your chart, right? But I think this one's going to be really potent. So this is a total lunar eclipse in Pisces at 15 degrees, and this is a full moon. I think we're going to feel this one more intensely, but I don't know. We'll see. It depends. And it's happening at 15 degrees Pisces, and in the human design, it's activating the head center in the gate of doubt, gate 63. So Pisces, the opposite of Virgo, we're working with this opposition over this current 18-month cycle of having the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. And so I think it's going to be interesting to experience this full moon energy. Pisces is all about, the realm of spirit. It's about the heart as well. It's about the dreamer. It's about compassion. It's about kindness and love and how connected we all are. And so you may have realizations about ways that you want to connect more, connect deeper, connect further with your people, your work, your family. Or you may have realizations around how you are not connected, right? So it's going to be really interesting. And I love working with Gate 63. It's one that a lot of people don't enjoy, but it is my pearl in the gene keys. So, it's something that it's very important to me. But doubt, the high expression of this gene key is inquiry. So we may have doubts, right? We may be unsure of certain things, and that is not a bad thing because we're opening up the space for possibilities, for solutions, for answers, for asking the right questions. So stay open and be curious. That's really what that full moon is all about.
Yeah, curiosity. I think if we can just lean into curiosity and being open, and you've got to trust through this process when you can't control, you've got to trust.
You
You've
can
got to,
try, but you're not going to succeed. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I love it. And then we of course we have the second eclipse on the 21st, right at the end of Virgo season, the second new moon, and that is a partial solar eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo. Now, there's a lot of scaremongering on the internet about 29 degrees, right? But 29 degrees Virgo, 29 degrees is just about transformation. It's about a deeper letting go of layers that are not serving us, right? So this new moon is a good one again to stay open to the possibilities. Let me tell you the human design gate. So this one is happening in gate 46, which is determination. Love this gate. So gate 46, actually this is really interesting. I just had a realization. So for those of you listening, hopefully this isn't confusing the way I'm just going to describe this. The two new moons, the first new moon at 0 degrees Virgo is in gate 29, which is the gate of saying yes. The second new moon is in gate 46. Together, those two gates actually make a channel. Just the layers of this thing, the layers of this Virgo season are kind of blowing my mind in real time here. So the 29, the gate of saying yes, is taking a leap, right? So the beginning of Virgo season, you're going to take a leap. You're going to be ready to just say yes without control, without knowing where you're going to land, without knowing. It's like Fool card energy in the tarot. And then we end the month with determination, which is no matter what, I'm in. And that is also very Virgo. I am devoted to the path. I'm devoted to myself. I'm devoted to my heart and my mission, no matter what, I'm in. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And I just love that connection that you've just made, and bringing that all together is so beautiful. And we've always got to remember, South Node, North Node are these seeming opposites pulling us in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
But the opposites always complement each other. And I think
Always.
what these two signs really have in common is it's all about service. And I think it's like here, especially when we're thinking about this Virgo energy, this double new moon and all the things, it's like, how can we drop serving out of obligation and instead serve out of devotion? And it completely changes the energy from which we are acting. And it beautifully honors that North Node in Pisces as well.
Yes. Oh, you're so right. You're so right. I'm so excited to work with this energy. This Virgo energy is energy I'm not, it's one I have to work at, because for me, I want to talk about where it is in our charts, just so we can give people examples so you can think about where it is in your chart, everyone who's listening. So for me, Virgo is my descendant, which is the opposite of the rising sign. The rising sign is the ascendant. This is often the sign we're most comfortable with, is our rising sign, and we see it in ourselves. It's our identity, etc. The descendant is the opposite sign, which rules the seventh house. It's about relationships. And so a lot of times, our descendant is a missing piece, you might say. It's an area where we are less skilled often, not always. I have clients who have lots of stuff around their descendant, so they're very skilled in that area. But often it's where we're less skilled. And so we seek that out in others, and we can learn from others how to awaken this in themselves. And for me, that's Virgo. And so being organized and practical may not come naturally to me, but it is something that I learn through my relationships, through my devotion to others as well, and to my path. So I'm very much looking forward to what this opens up for me, especially because, in the last year, my relationship status has massively changed, being a single mom. So I'm like, okay, what realizations are these eclipses going to bring? What opening, what clarity could this bring for me about my, not just romantic relationships, but also my besties, my close familiar relationships as well. What are you looking forward to? How does this touch your chart, Nicola?
I have Virgo in the second house.
Yeah.
And second house, it's money, it's growth, it's value. And yes, I see this energy playing out. Like, I like being organized with my money. I like looking at the details. Like, I'm not the kind of person who, when it comes to my finances, like if I can't see what's happening, if I'm sticking my head in the sand,
Uh-huh.
that feels bad. That feels uncomfortable. I'm like, I need to have optics. Not necessarily to change things, but to like have awareness. Like for me, knowing and seeing the details just makes me feel in control.
Yeah, in control. Yes.
But I feel good when I know, like I've got spreadsheets tracking like turnover. If we're,
Wow.
yeah,
I love it. This is so not me. Like,
not because I'm necessarily like that amazing at doing it. Like I had a friend create a spreadsheet for me. I can do like basic things. Like if we're doing like any like a big project that involves like a financial investment, like I will
yes,
create the spreadsheet where we're tracking the budget and the
that's
expenses.
amazing.
And it's simple, but it's just like helps me keep track, and then I feel good about that.
Yes.
So
Oh my God, I can't relate, but I love it. Like I outsource that part. I have an amazing accountant and bookkeeper, and I'm just like, can you please like sort this out?
exactly, and it's not about having to like like I have an accountant too, and like if
Yeah.
if
But
there's
you can do it yourself and you know what you're looking for. Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
kind of like it. I kind of like opening numbers and like creating a little spreadsheet. And like, look, my skills are so basic. Like, it's
Uh-huh.
not like people who are really good at this stuff would look at my spreadsheets and laugh.
Yeah.
They work for me.
Oh my
They,
God, I need your spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet, so I do have one, but I'm inconsistent. But I bet you're very consistent. That's very Virgo.
oh yeah, I've got system in place where I mean, like yeah, not always perfect, but we're keeping things up to date. And then
Nice.
I would say the other thing like I've had to really work with Virgo in the second house is not feeling like I have to have everything perfect and right to be worthy. Like I've really
Mhm.
had to like work on the fact that like there's value in experimentation and getting things wrong and
Mm.
things being a bit messy because again, like we spoke about that low expression, it's like when you're so caught up in like things only being valuable when they're perfect, we said
Mhm.
when exist, like that's not great
Yeah, yeah,
long term. Like it's
yeah.
not sustainable. And it's like, what can we do that's going to be sustainable? I think that's always what we have to come back to is like our sustainable well-being and success.
Yes, yes. Oh, words to live by. I love that. So anyone who's wondering, well, what does this mean for me? How do I tap into my Virgo? Make sure you look at what house you have Virgo in your birth chart. That is the area of your life that is ruled by Virgo, that is activated especially during Virgo season. So proceed accordingly.
Yeah, and a beautiful reminder that the whole zodiac lives in our chart. Like
Yes.
there we have it all.
We have it all. We all do. And we just may have more emphasis or less emphasis on some area. Like I don't have really any planets in Virgo, and it's my descendant. So this is an area that I have to work harder on to express, to embrace, and to learn from. But someone else may have a lot of planets there, and then for them, this is a huge strength and an area of, of skill. And we've got it all though. You're right. We all have all the signs. Wonderful. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this Virgo season. It's going to be such a gear shift. And it always is such a gear shift from Leo, but I think a welcome one, and it's going to help us to kind of rebalance after a very interesting summer, and maybe throw some things off balance with the eclipses as well that may need to be thrown off balance.
Yeah, maybe time to get a new pencil case and sharpen the pencils and
Yes.
like get that. I mean, I used to love my favorite part about new school term, right?
Stationery. Oh my God. Every year I loved my Lisa Frank unicorn folders, and then all my colored, markers and pencils. And I had the silver and the gold and the stickers. Oh my God. I loved it. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're going back to school.
back to school. Feels like it with the eclipses, right? Like
Yes.
time
Yes.
to learn some lessons.
Time to learn some lessons. Here we go. Yes. Thank you so much, as always, Nicola, for joining us. Everyone listening, if you have a Virgo bestie in your life, or if you would like to get some support on getting clarity and making your plan this Virgo season, please do book a reading with Nicola. She's incredible. She does astrology readings, human design readings, and combined, so you can get all of it together. So yeah, thank you again for your wisdom. This was such a fun episode, and I'm just excited for everyone to go out and experience this season.
Yeah, and if you really want some like personal advice on how you can create your radiance rituals and like your morning rituals, I've also been doing radiance readings for the community where we really look at your placements and create like this personalized menu of all the things you can do to have that devotion with yourself.
Perfect. Oh, I love it. Wonderful. All right, everyone. Have a great Virgo season, and we will see you later.